Hello everyone, I welcome you all on programming using Python MCA third semester course. So in this sessions I am going to starting with the second module. Okay, so the first topic it is Boolean type. Okay, so Boolean type. So here we are going to denoting a system of algebraic notations that going to use to represent logical propositions by means of our binary digits, that is zeros and ones in terms of computing. So I am repeating, denoting a system of algebraic notation used to represent a logical proposition by means of binary digits, that is zeros and ones in computing. So the can say the same Boolean type in another way, like that. Boolean data type is a type that has a one of two possible values which is intended to represent the two truth values of the logic and Boolean algebra. Okay, so the Boolean data type is a type that has a one of two possible values which is intended to represent the two truth values of your logic and Boolean algebra. It is named after the George Boole, who first defined an algebraic system of logic around in 19th century. Okay, so with respect to Boolean, we have a Boolean operator. So there are three basic Boolean operator. Okay, the first it is not, and, or. So these are the three operators of a Boolean operator, and here not has the highest precedence. It has the highest precedence compared to and or. So after the not and has a second precedence. After that we have a or operator. It has the next precedence. Okay, let's go with not. So it is a unary operator. Unary operator. It takes only one value. So it is a unary operator. It is going to take only one value. Okay, when an expressions involving will not going to produce a true if the original value is false, and it produces the false if the original value is true. So I am repeating, and with respect to not operator, when this not operator expression is get evaluated, it going to produce the true if the original value is false, and it produces the false if the original value is true. Let's go with example with respect to not operator. Not, the two Boolean values are true and false. So not true. Okay, here I am passing a value as true. So with respect to not, it going to evaluate it as false. So I will get output as false. So not with respect to false, I will get output as true. So it going to complement the values. So if we pass true, we will get a false. If we pass false, we will get a value as true. Okay. Now consider the and operator. So in and operator, it is a binary operator. It's a binary operator. So it takes two operands. So it's going to take 2 operands, and when this expressions get evaluated, it's from left to left and right. Okay. So the expressions will contain left and right. When AND operations will perform, when both left operand and right operands are true, then only we'll get the output as true. Otherwise, we will get a false. Okay. Let's check with the example. True and true. So when both left operand and right operand is true, I will get the output as true itself. Okay. Then when left operator is true and right operator is false, we will get the output as false. Let's try with all the options. So with respect to AND operations, when both left and right operations or the expressions get true, then only we will get the output as true. Otherwise, it going to produce us the false values. Okay. Let's go with OR. So OR is also a binary operator. So it takes 2 operands. So with respect to this, it going to produce the true if either of the operand is true, and it produces the false if both are false. I am repeating, it going to produce true if either of the operands, either the left or right operand is true, it going to produce the true. And it going to produce false when both the left and right expressions or operand are has a false. True or true. So it will give output as true. True or false, it will give output as true. False or true, it will give output as true. False or false, I will get output as false. So this is how your NOT operator, AND operator and your OR operator will going to work. Let's go with one more example with respect to your variable. So here I am assigning a variable A with a value called true. Okay, then I am going to check what is the data type of a variable A here. So type A. Okay, then I will get output as class bool. Okay, E is Miss Bool. Okay, let us consider one more with same. B equal to false, then check type of B. So this will also give the same class bool. Okay, so this is how we will get a output when we are going to check the type of a variable value. Okay, the output class bool, it going to indicate the variable is a Boolean data type. So variable is a Boolean data type. So you can observe that the keywords wherever I have written true and false, it must be in a uppercase letter. Means the first letter of the word true and false, it should be uppercase. If I use lowercase letters, for example, true, so the Python will going to throw a error message, that is traceback most recent call or call last, then file input, line 1 in module, then I will get an error message as name error. So name error, name true is not defined. So whenever you are going to write or you are going to assign a Boolean values, so you should need to use the T, the first word of the letter, it should be a capital letter, otherwise it going to throw a error message, that is name error, name is the name, true is not defined. Okay, let's do with integer and floating point numbers, how it can be converted to your Boolean data type. So for that we have a function called bool. So bool is a function which is going to convert integer and float to Boolean data type. Okay, so when an int, float or a complex number is going to set a value to a 0, then the Python will going to return a false value. So with respect to other, which is number set to any other positive number or any other negative numbers, it going to return a true values. So when the integer or a float value has a 0, it going to return a false. Otherwise, with respect to any number of positive and negative, it going to return a true values. Let's go with example. So here I am taking an example as 0, it's of type int. So it's a variable and its value is assigned to a 0. Let's check with a Boolean. So bool, it's going to convert, so 0 underscore int. So as I told, so when the value of integer it is 0, you will get an output as false. Okay. So here I am assigning a value of for integer 35. Just check with the Boolean value of this number. So for this I will get output as true. Okay. For only zeros we will get a false, otherwise we will get a true. So just go with a negative number. So here I am considering floating point negative values. Okay. Just check or convert this value to a Boolean value. So I will get output as true. So this is how we can convert from integer and floats to as a Booleans. Okay. So with respect to OR, right, we have discussed OR operator, right. So it can be a inclusive or it can be a, okay, it can be a inclusive or it can be a exclusive. So when it comes to inclusive, we are including the when both operands or either of the operand get false, or if both operands are true or both operand are false, we will get going to evaluate the expression. So that we called as a inclusive OR. So when it comes to exclusive, it going to evaluate it for only either both the operand it should be true or else it should be a false. For that it going to evaluate a true. For either any of the operand it's false, it going to give output as false. Okay. So this is the example statements, that is English sentence or a statement. Okay. We are going to apply the Boolean operators. So here we have two things. So we can use two variable to represent. Okay. For cold and for wind. Here the major ambiguities or the confusion it is not cold, but at the same time it is wind, or it can be both cold and it cannot be a wind, right? So here the major it is we have a confusion with the expressions or the with respect to the statement. It is not a cold, but at the same time it can be a wind, or it is both not cold or as well as a not wind. Okay, let's go with truth table for this. So I am taking two variables for representing these two values. Variable, that is cold and wind. Okay, so just I am writing table with respect to the values which can be taken. Okay, so this is with respect to cold and wind. So cold and wind. So these are the things can be come across. So either it can be cold and wind, or it cannot be a cold and only wind, or there may be a no cold and no wind, so that we can apply the Boolean operator. So let us consider with both the things. So there may be a cold. So if there is a cold, we are going with true values, and there is a wind also. So then when cold and wind means both the variable value it is true. So when both values are true, we will get output as true. Okay. So next, when there is not a cold, means we are not having the cold. Okay. So not cold means complement of that. So not cold means the cold value here it is true, not means it will become false. So false, and wind value here it is true. So false and true, we will get output as false. Okay. So next it is there is no cold and there is no wind. Okay. No means we need to come across with negation, that is here we assume that both have, right, cold will be there, cold and wind is there. So when you are come acrossing with this, so we will get output as false, right. So one more thing I need to write, that is OR operations, cold or wind. Okay. So OR thing means it will be a true. OR means it will be a, because anything will be any one of the operand is true, we will get output as true. Okay, let's take another with respect to values of variable true and variable cold and wind. So cold is there and there is no wind. Cold is there but there is no wind. So then that time, so we are going to performing the AND operation. So the left of the operand it shares cold, shares the value as true. So right of the AND operator shares the wind, it is false. So when either of the value is false, we will get output as false. So with respect to this, so here we are going to not operations. So what is the value of cold? It is true. So not means we will get output as false, and then false if both the left and right operand has a false value, we will get output as false. Clear? Next, so cold and wind. So cold value it is true and wind value it is false. So with respect to and, either of the operand it is true or false, so we will get output as false. So complement of that we will get output as true, or not operation will be performed. So when this statement get executed, we will get the output as false. After applying this or ever produced value will be passed to the this not operator, so we will get the output as true. So next it is OR. So cold value it is true, so we will get obviously we will get output as true. Okay. Next go with false and true. So for this we will get a false because either of the value it is false, so we will get output as false. So with respect to this, not cold, cold value here it is false, not of false will become true. When both operands are true, we will get output as true, right? Because both operands are true, so we will get output as true. So next with respect to this, so we will get a output as false when executing AND operations. So that value will be passed to the not operator, we will get output as true. So with respect to OR operator, either of the value it is true, so definitely we will get output as true. So coming to the last one, that is false. So this operation will get output as false itself because both the operands are false, so we will get output as false. So when it comes to here, not of cold it will be a true, then when ANDing with this operations we will get output as false, so that we will get output as false. So with respect to this we will get a output as false, but when we are passing that value to a not operations, we will get output as true. So with respect to cold or wind, we will get output as false because both the operands are false, so that we will get output as false only. Okay. So we can write same thing in a code. So this can be written using a Python code. Okay. So let's go with the same thing in a code manner. So just taking the value variables, cold equal to true. Okay. Wind equal to false. So these are the two values for a variable cold and wind. So I am applying the not cold and wind. So when these expressions get evaluated, I will get output as false. So the first not cold will be get evaluated. The cold value here it is true, not cold value means it is not true. So it's not true means it is a false. So this here we get a false and false. So false on false, when get and ANDed, so we will get output as false. Let's go with one more thing. Not cold and wind. So with respect to this expressions, the parenthesis has highest precedence, so this will get evaluated first. So that cold and wind, cold and wind. Cold value here it is true and wind value here it is false. So when we are going to AND operations performed, so it will get a answer as or the value as false, and thus that will be passed to the NOT operator, and this will going to perform the NOT false. So when it is not false, it should be a true. Okay. Next topic it is relational operators. So in the Boolean type, we are discussed with only the value, that is true and false values. So we cannot write it using that values in expressions. So we can go with the common way by comparing this strings using a relational operator. Let's go with what are the different relational operators which are in Python program. So this symbol will represent a greater than, okay, this is less than, greater than, less than, greater than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, equal to, not equal to. So these are the relational operators which will be used in your Python. Okay. The major important when you are considering this operator, it is we need to use double equals. Okay. We need to evaluate the double equal signs when we are comparing two values, if whether it is equal. Okay. So instead of writing single equal sign, we need to use two equal sign, because when we are executing with the single equations or the single equal operator, so the Python will treat it as a assignment statement. So when we are comparing x with a 3, so the Python assumes that so x, the value 3 will be assigned to a variable called x. So instead of comparing x with 3, it is going to assign a value to a variable x. Okay. So let's go with the example for relational operators. So all relational operators are binary operator. They are going to compare the two values and it is going to produce either true or a false. So all relational operators are binary operators. It is going to produce either true or false. Okay, it is going to produce either true or false. So let's go with examples. Okay, 45 is greater than 34. Yes, yes, it is true. So because number 45 is greater than 34, so we will get output as true. Next example, 45, it is greater than 17, false, because compared to these two numbers, 49 is the greatest one. So we will get output as false. Okay. 45 less than 79, yes, 45 is less than 79, we will get output as true. Okay. 45, it is less than 34, so I will get the output as false, because 45 is not a less than your value now called 34. So we can compare integers to floating point numbers with any of the relational operators. So by default integers are automatically converted to the floating point representations. So let's go with some example with respect to comparing integer and floating point numbers. 23.1, it is greater than or equal to 23. Okay, so then it will become true, because when this expressions get evaluated, it will be become 23.1 greater than or equal to 23.0. So when with respect to this, it is greater than this value 23. So we will get output as true. 23.1 greater than or equal to 23.1. So in this time, it is exact matching between the this value and this value. So we will get output as true. Okay. 23.1 less than or equal to 23.1. Yes, it is equal, it's not less than, it is equal, so that we will get output as true. Let's go with one more example. 23.1 is less than or equal to 23, right? So 23.1, it is less than or equal to 23. So once again here we are comparing the floating point number to integer, so automatically convert integer value to a floating point number, and when the comparison occurs, so you will get output as false. So as I told, this 23 will become 23.0. So when we are comparing this, so the 23.1, it has the highest number compared to 23.0. So when this relational operator this expressions get evaluated, we will get output as false. Let's take some other example with respect to this. 63.3 equal to 87. So far we are learned with only greater than and less than symbol. So let's take with equal. 67.3 equal to 87. It's not equal. So what we will get output as false. Okay. Next 67.3 equal to 67, because it get converted to integer floating point, right? No, then also we'll get output as false. Okay, then 67.0 equal to 67. Yes, so here with respect to this we will get output as true, because this value, integer value, will be get converted to floating point representation. So when this values get converted, so it will be represented as 67.0, and this 67.0 is compared with this 67. So both are same. So then we will get output as true. So this is what we are comparing with the numbers, right? So we know the values, just we are going to compare it, so that we can introduce a variable for comparing or using a use of relational operator. We can compare the values with the variables. So A equal to true, okay, B equal to false. Let's apply the functions or the operator. A equal to B, A equal to B, no, it's false. So we'll get output as false. So A value here it is true and B value it is false. So A equal to, it's not equal, so that we'll get output as false. A is not equal to B. Yes, it's A is not equal to B, because A value it is true, B value it is false. So we'll get output as true. Let's take one more variable, C equal to false. Then evaluate the expressions. Okay, A or C and B. Okay, so with respect to this, so parenthesis has a highest precedence, so this will be get evaluated first, C and D. So C value here it is false. So when the operator AND has a false, both C and B has a false value, so that we will get the output as false. So that will be passed to a operator or, so that it will going to compare. So here A value it is true and this expression value it is false. So the OR operation, so either of the operand it is true, so we will get the output as true. Okay. So same expressions I am going with some another way. So with this A or B, so A or B we will get the output as, so because A here it is true and B it is false, so either of the value it is true, we will get the output as true, and this will be passed to a AND operator, so that true and C value here it is false, so true and false we will get the output as false. Okay, let me change the operand values A and B or C. So with respect to this, so here I perform OR operation, here I am performing AND, here OR, AND and here OR. So when this expressions get evaluated, we will get the output as false. So true, false. So both when true and false, we have either of the operand as false value, the AND operator will produce a false. So that C here with respect to C, it also a false. So false, false will get the output as false. Okay. So same thing we can be used in a functions also. So let me check whether the given value it is positive or not. So by using a function. So here I am using a function or defining a function is positive. So I am passing a value, end of the header, enter, give a tab space, okay, return x, return x if it is greater than 0, okay. I am just ending this function, I am now calling the function is underscore positive of 3. So yes, the whatever the value it is passed to this function 3, it going to check. So x is greater than 0. Yes, it is obviously the value of x here it is 3, it is greater than 0. So then it will going to return a value as true. Is positive of with respect to this number, yes, it going to pass this number to this function and the function will going to compare. So now x value it is minus 5.73. So this will going to check. So minus 5.73 it is greater than 0? No, it's not greater than 0. So I will get the output as false. Okay. Once again I am going to check. I am just passing a value as 0. So here the x value here it will become 0. 0 is greater than 0, false. Because I have told you that whenever we are going to check compared with the 0 values, we will always get a value as or the result as a false. So when this case statement get executed, I will get the output as false. Okay.